Bartolena, constructing fascism, Hemingway, and World War I. During the early 1920s, the fascists appropriated Italian history, in particular World War I memory, endowing it with a halo of myth. The war was the symbol of a united nation, of a new risorgimento, obliterating the humiliating defeat of the apparatus that took place in 1970, and highlighted the final victory of Victoria Veneto at the end of the war, 1918. No wonder that when entering the Quirinale Palace on the 13th October 1922, fascists insisted that they embodied the real Italy, an aristocracy of new men who had beaten Austria in Victoria Veneto and represented a new kind of elite, a new powerful group of people endowed with power. Yet in 1920 it was all a view of history. Hemingway was by then a writer living in Paris. He was a young American writer who had served in Italy from 1918 to January 1999. In a series of short stories, he started to show a different view of Italy and of the World War period. He started publishing The Revolutionarist in 1924, where he showed his concern about dangerous ideological movements that were taking place in Italy right after the war. Then in works such as In Another Country, Farewell to Arms, he tried to show the dark side of Italian recent history. These works render Hemingway's image as that of a dangerous observer of fascist authorities, which forbade Hemingway's work in Italy during the 1920s and 1930s. One of these astounding works about World War I Italy was In Another Country, in which Hemingway challenged the ethos of fascism and the memory of the war. In this story, the narrator is a wounded American soldier who joins a group of Italian officers, and they all walk around the streets of Milan after being treated of their war wounds at the Milan hospital, the Ospedale Maggiore. When Hemingway wrote this story, Milan was the symbol of a new city for the fascists. It was a symbol of power and progress. It was a city that inspired fascists like Mussolini and artists like Marinetti and Giacomo Balla. It's a symbol of a new industrial Italy born out of the war. The city represents light, electricity, energy, speed, novelty, violence, and aggressive nationalism. It was the beginning of a new technological order, and the city flourished during the fascist regime. This flourishing had started in the war, when many of the great factories were located there, and they were used against the Austrians. In Another Country, on the other hand, Hemingway portrays Milan as a different kind of city. It's a dark city, a refugee for solitary man trying to seek shelter from the war-torn consciousness. It's almost a Gothic landscape, deserted streets, loneliness, hunger, decrepit figures. It's a world in which these wounded soldiers find only a shelter in the night, away, far away from the traffic lights and from the rumors of the city. Fascists stressed that the war created a united Italy, in which there were no social divisions, apparently, and political difference among the citizens. The war had created a kind of glorious unity. In Another Country, Hemingway, however, challenges this view. He portrays instead that Italy during the First World War was a fragmented society, in which workers expressed their ugly resentment against the soldiers, and the only patriotic people in Milan seemed to be prostitutes. Whereas fascists celebrated this kind of model of Italian soldier as a man-machine, celebration also of soldier with abnegation, courage, sacrifice, as a symbol also of a new order. Hemingway tried to explore the dark side of these soldiers. It appears as people completely detached, people who do not were completely unable to return to normal life. They have experienced the formed not as a glorious enterprise, but a solitary one. Fascists sought to create cohesion, celebrating war ideology, celebrating courage, violence. On the other hand, Hemingway expressed it was a secret world, that of the war. It was a world crowned with nightmares, people roaming from one place to another place, no direction, in which there was no room for heroism. A world of lonely soldiers and group characters facing courage alone, emptiness as well, as the symbol of modern warfare. What characterized the world was horror, misery, existential emptiness. It was the beginning of a new writing that will be joined other approaches to the world, such as John Dos Passos, Three Soldiers, and E. Cummings in Enormous Room. These American writers saw the dark side of Europe, and in particular Hemingway managed to hide the sense of emptiness created by the world by insisting that in spite of the military defeats, in spite of the darkness created by guns and artillery, there was still hope. This hope was not glorious. It was just the hope of a lonely soldier trying to survive in a nightmare world created by war. Thank you.